Good morning. Taylor Swift is the most successful musician in my memory. In key measurements, she has surpassed the Beatles, Michael Jackson, and Elvis Presley. Her recent Eras tour has broken all kinds of records. But in 2019, she discovered that her music had been sold to a hedge fund. And because of this, she lost complete control over how her music was marketed and distributed. Imagine if you made something and someone else had complete control over how it was used and they made almost all the money from it. I think it would be pretty soul-crushing to put so much of yourself into your music only to have it marketed and sold in a way that you don't approve. When an artist creates something, it's somewhat like a child to them. They put their heart and soul into it, they struggle and fight with it, and probably shed a whole lot of tears during the creation of it. And then only to watch it end up in the hands of greedy businessmen? You know, Swift had a lot of options in how she could respond to this unfortunate situation. She could have let that completely sour her on the music industry. She could have become completely disillusioned. She could have ceased playing that music for the fans to keep those businessmen from making so much money. She could have quit. But instead, she took matters into her own hands. She re-recorded every song on every album and then re-released those albums under her control. She calls them Taylor's versions. And in the process, she made those songs better, the albums were better, and she got better. Taylor Swift turned her pain into opportunity. What do you do with your pain? That is the big question of the spiritual life. You know, there is no life without pain. Our fallen nature makes sure of that. The fallenness of creation contributes to it as well. You know, when sin and destruction entered into the world, it wasn't just humans who fell into destructive ways, but creation itself fell into a destructive pattern. And we've seen that most recently here in Western North Carolina with the destruction of Hurricane Helene. There is a pattern in our world of pain, destruction, but out of that destruction comes restoration. You know, among the most captivating beauty that I have ever seen is in the mountains of Alaska. Those stunning and majestic mountains seem bigger than life itself. You can see the beauty of God in them. But those mountains are made through pain and destruction. Tectonic plates smash against each other, they crumble, and huge slabs of rocks are pushed up into the sky. Through the destruction of tectonic plates, we get some of the most beautiful sights on earth. We get resurrected beauty. This is the cycle of loss and renewal in all of creation. All that God made, all of heaven and earth, all of his people go through this cycle of pain, loss, and restoration. Think about the times in your life when you suffered great pain and loss. Was that the final word for you? What restoration came out of your pain and loss? You know, we spend so much time and energy trying to avoid, run from, or prevent pain and loss. We think we can control suffering. We think we can conquer pain through willpower or medication or therapy. And those things can be good for us sometimes, no doubt. But when it comes down to it, the question we should be asking, the question we should be answering is not, how can I avoid or defeat pain and loss? But rather, what do I do with my pain and loss? This is why the cross of Jesus Christ is the central symbol of the Christian faith. The cross of Christ is the most countercultural symbol in all the world because it is a symbol of torture and pain, and yet we find life in it. The cross of Christ is there to remind us that it is through pain and suffering that we find restoration. The cross of Christ is there to remind us that we embrace suffering as a way of redemption and salvation. Pain, suffering, and loss are our great teachers in life. It is said wisely that it is through our mistakes and failures that we learn and grow. It is through our pain and loss that we learn what truly matters. through pain, we can rise from the ashes of Lent into the resurrected glory of Easter. So what do you do with your pain? Do you deflect it to others? Do you project it on others? Do you turn it in on yourself and bring yourself deeper into pain? Or do you let it redeem you? Do you let it teach you? Do you let your pain be the opportunity to bring more beauty into your life? The Lord bless you and keep you. The Lord make his face to shine upon you and be gracious to you. The Lord lift up his countenance upon you and give you peace. Amen. I hope you have a great week.